Now then, we'll be going through a couple of things here into what we call brand experiences. Yeah, exciting stuff, eh? So this is our family of high-impact display and video products that we generally describe as visual first and content first solutions. And they've all evolved from our flagship brand story format, which is really the open web equivalent of Instagram stories. So let's break this down, shall we? Why are we doing this? Well, first of all, it makes sense. We take in most of our information through our screens now, so it's pretty exciting to create a self-contained sort of sequential experience that can actually accelerate people through their decision journeys. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. And then it's worth looking at what we call the attention quality problem, as marketers now call that the number one problem we need to be addressing. And then, finally, we want to go through a framework of why and how we're planning to create brand experiences, and also why would consumers care. Alright, so let me ease you into all of this and go through some of the use cases for our products. First of which is video. And that's the very common elements you'll see all around in stories, and very much embedded into the storyline, along with text, interactives and so on. Right, now a really obvious one, getting influencer content a new type of scale using display media. And we've seen great success in creating these experiences into stories, and bringing this sort of social authenticity to placements that really people have grown used to ignore. So this one right here, it takes you to a different part of the story based on your choice. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, next let's look at the interactive video format. One that adds a new dimension of depth to your content and gets people to play along and interact with what they're watching. So basically it gets your content to work a lot harder for the impressions you're buying. Alright, a few others now. Voting and then polling. They're great ways for brands to understand consumer preference. And same with quizzes too. And they're fantastically effective at guiding people through the content. You know, sort of building your own adventure type of thing. Pretty clever, huh? Alright, now where do brand experiences deliver and how do they look like when you come across them? So here's a demo using the interstitial experience, one of our most successful options as it gets this uninterrupted full bleed unit in full view. And some of our partners think of those units as actual landing destinations as well. And they're really compelling and keep users engaged quite often more than a landing page does. Okay, so size-wise, other options include similarly large formats like 320 by 480, or if you're looking at video formats, those would be outstream units on both mobile and desktop. So from a buying perspective, there's the managed service option or the PMP deals that we make available to your seat. And there really is a lot going on there as we're improving those deals dynamically now, as we feed back interaction data into our trading environment. So you know what, the great thing now is that you have a whole wealth of interaction data that not only tells you how your content is doing, but like I said, would actively improve the inventory you're buying. So there are over 15 metrics that you can explore, so you get the full picture around how well is the audience responding to your stories. Engaged depth is, for example, one metric we look at as we get to figure out how far along do people actually get through as they're tapping into our content. Mutes and unmutes then, very relevant for your video content, along with completion rates for every single asset you drop into your timeline. So it's basically a really good x-ray into what works and what doesn't for visuals, text, interactives and so on. The dashboards also give you a clear understanding of how media partnerships and inventories perform, and the sort of engagement rates you're getting based on unit size or publisher domain, which of course is really useful. Alright, now for something probably a little more abstract. What do we really call quality attention these days? And while we do track a lot of attention metrics, it does become more obvious that there's no such thing as attention quality. So quite frankly, if your content is terrible, people's attention is still alright. They're just ignoring your ads to go on with their day. So attention is indeed a classic neurological response, and it's been sculpted by the content we consume, and more narrowly, formats as well. But consumers overall expect a relatable, preferably bite-sized piece of content that then comes with a dopamine hit. And that hit does come with a story and a storyline. And yeah, we're hoping for the best here. So that leads us to this Storytelling 101 slide. Alright, so look, I'm sure you know what narrative arcs are. They really are the backbone of every great story. They're the path that guides us. starting with an introduction, building up the tension, reaching a climax, and then finally resolving everything. And our brains are seriously wired to look for these narrative arcs. And yeah, although people do take split-second decisions when they interact with your content, the more we look at the data, the more we realise that people are in fact chasing a thread there. And it's this sequentiality, even if incredibly brief, that resonates deeply because it aligns with our natural cognitive patterns. So as you can see, we did look seriously into this, I'm telling you. It kind of sounds like we're obsessed with all the weird things. So we've looked at over 900 pieces of content that collectively have had a few billion impressions worth of media budgets behind them. And there is a positive correlation there. Storylines and the actual depth in your content drive substantially higher engagement. People stay longer, and they're more likely to tap or click for the first time, which is what interaction rate is. And then content with hardly any storyline, under 3 scenes long, drive the lowest engagement rate. Alright, so I guess the question is, where am I actually going with this? Well, it turns out this quick succession and plot twists in our stories, and short-form content in general, also impacts the consumer decision journey. So storytelling can indeed accelerate people through this journey from a branding or awareness message right into conversion in just a few seconds, rather than possibly days or weeks in the past. So we see shoppable experiences is a key part of most strategies now, as they're the natural progression in your narrative. And there is so much that you can create with us in this space, from hotspots here, alright, to interactive galleries and product carousels here. Okay, so there we go, that's it for now. Thanks ever so much for watching, and we'll look forward to speaking soon.